we start our practice. Now the time has come for us to die. And as the time has come for us to die, all those roles, responsibilities we had, we have to leave them behind. When we were born, we were given a name. And in the course of time, this name was associated with various things we did. We may even have changed the name, getting married, becoming monastics. We may have acquired educational degrees or responsibilities, allowing us to add titles to this name. All of this, all of the functions, our contributions to society, everything that goes with this name of ours, we cannot take it along. We have to leave it behind. Others may continue some of what we did. They may not continue. But whatever they do, they will do it without us. And we let go of all those aspects of our sense of identity, of who we are, what we did. We let go. Nameless we came, nameless we go. And our possessions, all those things that we own. Perhaps we own a car, have built ourselves a house, or we may be just monastics, owning a few books, robes, and a bowl. Even the clothes we wear, the robes we wear, we cannot take them along. All of it we have to leave behind. It will be used by others, or it will be discarded. And we let go. We let go of all our possessions. Naked we came, naked we go. And all our relatives, friends, the family into which we were born, and from there, that whole circle of close and dear ones, these two we have to leave behind. We cannot take them along. They will continue without us. And we let go of all our close and dear ones. Alone we came, alone we go. Letting go. And having let go of our identity, possessions, and relations, now time has come to slowly let go of this body. And as the process of dying sets in, we gradually lose control of our limbs. We are no longer able to move our limbs the way we were before. And the body feels so heavy. The earth element. We are losing control over the earth element. And the body feels heavy, as if oppressed by a weight. And if we are lying down and having a blanket over us, we would wish that somebody would remove even that blanket because it feels so heavy, like lead. And if there are others who are around us and taking care of us, and they might have to move our body around, they will also experience it as if it had become more heavy. The weight of the body has not changed, of course, but the body is losing its structure. And this makes it more difficult for others to move our body around. We are losing control over the earth element. And next we lose control over the water element. Water may come out of our eyes and out of our genitals. And we feel so thirsty, parched up. We want to drink. And we are no longer able to communicate, but we may open our mouth and pull out the tongue as if saying, I want to drink. I'm so thirsty. Losing control over the water element. And losing control over the fire element. Slowly, the feet and the hands start to lose their temperature. And coldness starts to move from the extremities of the limbs, gradually and slowly, towards the torso, towards the heart. And we feel so cold. The body might start to shiver. Feet and hand become slightly bluish. And if earlier we would have liked the blankets to be removed, now we would like them to be put on, and even more, as we are losing control over the fire element. So cold. Coldness is creeping up closer and closer, closer and closer to the heart. And breathing becomes so difficult. Belabored breathing. Short inhalations, long exhalations. Gasping for breath. The whole body making last efforts to take in another inhalation, another bit of oxygen. Another inhalation. Another bit of oxygen. until it no longer breathes. And with that last exhalation, our connection with the body has been severed. We no longer feel it. It is just there. And we no longer sense what will happen to it. And what happens is that with the ending of breath, other manifestations of the wind element in the body gradually cease. The wind element falls apart. And the body becomes completely cold. Fire element falls apart. And it starts to lose all its liquids. Water element falls apart. And gradually the process of the falling apart of the earth element sets in. And eventually only the skeleton remains. For some time it is still held together by the dried up sinews, but as these decompose, the skeleton falls apart, bones here and there, slowly crumbling to dust. The earth element has also decomposed, come to an end.